Ubisoft, as it turns out, is going through some extremely difficult times financially. I've kind of heard of things here and there with Ubisoft over the past couple years that they have been struggling, but I didn't know things were actually this bad. In just the past few days now, Ubisoft's stock price has sunk 10%, which on the surface might not sound like a lot, but let me tell you, it is a lot. This company is worth over $2 billion. And just 8 days ago, on Friday, August 30th, they released what was supposed to be a very successful game and a turning point for the company. This is, of course, Star Wars Outlaws, but it would seem that the release of this game has done the exact opposite and has brought Ubisoft further down. So in terms of the big picture, Ubisoft's stock price has been going down since about 2021, which by itself isn't super surprising. This has kind of been the trend for really any gaming company. 2021 was kind of the peak, and it has gone downhill from there. But with Ubisoft, it hasn't gone up recently. A lot of these other companies have kind of rallied in recent months, but with Ubisoft that hasn't happened. And like I said earlier, yeah, I'm sure you've heard about Star Wars Outlaws. This was going to be a financial turning point for Ubisoft, and I don't think this is necessarily like a bad game by itself. I've heard actually pretty good things about it, and it does look cool. But for being what it is, you know, Star Wars, a completely massive IP, and being the first open world Star Wars game, so to speak, it sounds like this game, just now a week after its release, has drastically underperformed. I don't know what the numbers are on the sales right now, it's still kind of early, but with the numbers that insiders have, it is now projected that 6 months into this game's lifespan, it's going to sell only 5.5 million copies, and just a few days ago, it was projected that it was going to sell 7.5 million copies. So these lackluster sales projections are probably a big part of why this stock has decreased 10% in just the very recent days. But of course, there are other things that play a factor. A lot of people are pointing out X-Defiant. Yeah, this was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer. This was Ubisoft's big FPS. It finally had a full release just about 4 months ago, but it would seem the honeymoon phase is over on that game. The viewership on Twitch and the overall player count has just drastically decreased, like way over decreased compared to what like people thought. I mean, people knew that, you know, sure, it was going to have a high point initially and then it was going to go down, but it has really gone down. And of course, with Ubisoft just being such a big company, there's other things here and there as well. Assassin's Creed is another one. That IP has, well, definitely been criticized in recent months. And like the recent Assassin's Creed Nexus VR game, that apparently didn't have good sales. So it sucks. I mean, obviously this doesn't have everything to do with Star Wars Outlaws. And like I said, by itself, it's not a bad game, I don't think. But there has just been a lot of negative with Ubisoft financially, and Star Wars Outlaws was really going to turn this around, and it turns out that is not the case. Now, with this 10% decrease, the stock is at a 10-year low. Yeah, it hasn't been this low since 2014. I really don't know how Ubisoft is going to get out of this. There's a lot of different options, and like I said, it is still a very big, very successful company. But for a big company like Ubisoft, an investor is always your best friend, and investors really don't care about success or overall success if your stock price just keeps going down, and projections for your future are looking grim. So an interesting road ahead for Ubisoft. Who knows? Maybe the Star Wars game will pull a Cyberpunk 2077 and just turn around massively and really rake in the sales, and maybe the new Assassin's Creed will really rake in sales. Maybe X-Defiant will turn around, or none of that happens. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Ubisoft eventually gets bought out. A lot of different things can happen. The future is very uncertain, but right now, in the present, what is unfortunately certain for Ubisoft is that things are not looking good. The stock is now at a 10-year low.